Good morning or good afternoon, whatever time that you're watching this. 11A, I hope that you're all well. I just want to quickly go over where we're at in terms of things that I've got missing. Alice, I don't know if anyone's spoken to Alice. I hope that Alice is okay. Alice, if you're listening to this, we miss you. And we're going to have some problems when you get back to class because we've got lots to do. So we can see Ms. Cherisy, lots of things to get to me, please. Summer, you're doing well. That's fine. Who else have we got? Ms. Apple, I know that you're working hard to get everything through, so try and push that through for me as quickly as possible. Music and Carl just have a couple of things outstanding. I don't have many of these, but that's okay. It's not due until today, tomorrow. And the Mona Lisa, I would like that to be gotten into me today, please. Then we've got Esther. So you've still got quite a few things missing out. Kevin, we've got 3 items, and Cole, lots and lots to get done. The problem is that you'll be falling behind your classmates, and I'm not going to give you time in class to do this. So either you do it now while you're at home, or you do it while we're back at school, hopefully when I get back into the classroom. But you are going to have to do it, otherwise you will not pass this level. You will not pass GCSE. It will impact your GPA, and I can promise you your parents aren't going to be very happy. So please, let's try and get all of this red away, all right? Get rid of the red, make a happy teacher. And again, thank you very much to Abel, who is going to be downloading all of these videos so that you can participate if you don't have a VPN. Right, so we're going to do some more listening today. Let me just take down the time, 2:54. Okay. So we're going to practice responding to listening with short answers. So rather than having dot points or one-word answers, we're going to try and write a short answer. You'll be doing this in your IELTS as well, and also if you decide to do your ACT. So short answers responses usually require 3 or 4 words, or often a phrase. So either answer in up to 3 words or answer in no more than 5 words, okay? So for instance, in the previous listening, a short answer question could have been, what kind of system is suggested by one of the students to solve the problem of glass contamination? So if it was a one-word answer, you might want to say dual bins. I would probably write something like the student suggested that there be 2 bins, one for glass and one for other recyclables. So that would be a short sentence to express what my answer needs to be, okay? So in this section, we're going to be looking at short answers. So you're going to listen to the introduction of a lecture, and I've got some really good news. You're going to be very happy. This is track 14. So unless we have to go back to any other areas, this is actually the last track of this particular class. All right, so you'll be given a few minutes to read through these questions, which I'll read through them with you right now. So short answers, as I said, it needs to be more than 1 word. Name 2 of the ancient civilizations the lecturer mentions who were concerned about environmental problems. So 2 ancient civilizations that were concerned about environmental problems. When did environmental activism begin on a global scale? Okay, when did environmental activism begin on a global scale? So activism being people that started saying we need to concentrate on recycling, we need to make sure that our water is not polluted, we need to make sure that we're not using as much gas so that we don't have a big hole in the ozone layer. And global scale means not just China, not just Australia, but the whole world. So when did environmental activism begin on a global scale? Which 2 global environmental concerns did the lecturer mention? Which 2, okay? So which 2 global environmental? So again, so 2 being one of the main points and global being one of the main points. So again, not just an issue in China, not just an issue in Australia, but global issues. And next, what are the impacts of global warming mentioned by the lecturer? So what is global warming causing. And it has to be mentioned by the lecturer. It's not what you think, it is what you hear. Remember, this is listening, okay? So we're just going to listen to the first section, and I'd like you to answer these questions and then send them through to me.
GAC 007, Academic English 2, Listening and Speaking Skills. Unit 6. Track 14. Now, listen to a lecture in a civics class. When you think about the environmental movement, what images come to your mind? Activists protesting against corporations that are polluting our land, air, and water? Nonprofit organizations pushing the government to protect our natural areas? Or maybe you think of hippies and flower children that dream of being one with Mother Earth, which is understandable since the 60s and 70s are said to be the origins of the modern environmental movement. But did you know that humanity's concern for environmental problems dates back much, much earlier in history? The Romans are widely known by historians for their attempts to prevent air and water pollution. Archaeologists have also discovered that ancient peoples in China, India, and Peru practiced soil conservation some 2,000 years ago. Then, there are the countries of Europe who painfully learned in the 1300s that unsanitary conditions are connected to the spread of disease. Even still, it wasn't until the late 20th century that widespread activism arrived to combat environmental issues. In other words, it is only in the last 50 to 60 years that humans have started organizing on an international scale to create a more eco-friendly society. Now, as successful as the environmental movement has been, we are not out of the dark yet, so to speak. Today, there are still numerous environmental problems that threaten our planet. For example, nuclear waste is a global concern, with 31 countries having over 400 nuclear reactors in operation. I won't deny that scientists are inventing technologies to make nuclear energy more efficient and to reduce the waste that it generates. However, nuclear energy can still lead to disasters as shown after the tsunami hit Fukushima Daiichi in Japan in 2011. Then there is the ongoing menace of global warming that we are all too familiar with. Carbon dioxide, methane, and other greenhouse gases are continuing to build up in the Earth's atmosphere as a result of human activity. And, well, I don't think I need to go into detail about the various impacts of global warming in terms of increasing temperatures, rising sea levels, melting glaciers, and so on. While we could easily spend the entire semester listing all the environmental problems that our planet faces, let's start diving deeper into the issues.
Okay, so you should have gotten all of the answers for this one, this one, this one, and this one, okay? So as usual, can you please do a little snip for me? You can use your snipping tool or have written it down and send that through to me to show that you've done that. We'll go through the answers of that tomorrow. Okay, in the next section, you'll practice completing notes while listening to a lecture. Now, I've been looking at some of you when you're completing your podcast notes, and I'm a bit disappointed in some of you, not all of you, but let's just quickly go over what I require and why I require it. Now, I know the podcasts are difficult. Level 3, just to let you know, are listening to 1 hour podcasts, so 45 minutes to 60-minute podcasts, so something really long. And really, I should be sending you 30-minute podcasts, but I'm trying to be nice and only give you 15-minute podcasts. But at this level, you should be listening to more and more. Just completing this and writing a summary for me after looking on the internet is not completing your homework, okay? And this isn't just for me to tick a box, it's practicing, and I'm trying to get you to practice listening. Again, you should be doing this as independent learners. Some of you have told me that this is too hard, and so many of you are just copying and pasting and not completing this correctly. It is hard, and it will continue to be hard until you continue to practice it. I don't know what else I can say to emphasize how important it is that you listen, you pause, write down, see what you think the word could be. If you don't know what the word is, just write down what you think it is, jump into a Word document, write the letters down to see, and it might actually come up in a word prompt. For instance, you might hear the word experimental, but you don't know this word. But you know that sounds something like that. And see how it's just automatically changed it to experimental? And then you can look that up in your thesaurus or dictionary. Synonyms: new, untried, trial, investigative, tentative. Okay? Okay. All right, so what I need you to be doing here is actually writing down what the main idea is, any supporting detail and vocabulary you didn't know before. So this is the vocabulary you're going to have to teach yourself, okay? So your main idea is some supporting detail, new vocab. I don't want just 2 of these or 1 of these and then you to write the summary. I've also noticed people are just going on the internet, finding the information and copying and pasting that. What you're doing is cheating yourself. I know that you're doing it. So it's disappointing to me as your teacher because I am making an effort to try and do these extra things to help you improve your listening and speaking. But what you're really doing is just cheating yourself, and it means when you get to level 3, you're not going to be up to scratch. And when you go to university, you're going to really, really struggle. So please, guys, don't waste your time. Don't waste my time. Listen to the podcast. Pause if you don't understand that. Listen again, okay? You usually have a week to get this done, and there's no reason that you can't do it because other students can. It's the only way you're going to improve, okay? I don't want to have this discussion again, all right? Okay. Okay, so going back here. So as I was mentioning, doing the podcast is actually practicing your listening skills, but also your note-taking skills and your summary skills. These are 3 things that you really certainly need when you're at university and when you've got a job using English, okay? So a good summary of a lecture has the following features. It's got the same meaning as the original lecture. It is complete. It is logically organized. So you've put the ideas in the right order. You don't talk about one idea, then another idea, and then go back to the first idea. It has to be put into a logical order. Clear and concise. Concise means it doesn't waffle, you don't repeat yourself. You get your point through nice and quickly. So we're going to listen to the main part of the lecture, and as you listen, you're going to be completing 6.14. So this is 6.14. Okay, so they've already filled out a lot of information for you. I'm not going to pause for you. I want you to complete this yourself. And then again, if you can either snip it or send it to me, writing that it is for listening part 7. Okay, so one of the most something ecosystems in the world. An ecosystem, I'm sure that you all know what that means now, but it means an area in which people or animals of some description live. So the ocean would be one type of ecosystem, the forest would be a different type, the desert also a different type. Rich in what? So what is it rich in? What does it have a lot of good stuff? Supports what percentage? So looking for a number here, and we're looking for a number here. 20% reefs have already disappeared, such and such, in the Philippines. So again, a number here. So when we hear Philippines, we're going to be listening for the percentage. Another 6, again, percentage, that will be a number. In years, you can see this will be a number as well. VIMP, what do you think that means? Nice and easy. It means very important, something, something, something. So you can see short word, long word for restoring them. Restoring is to fix them, to restore something to its former glory. Fishing, ESP, means especially. Overfishing, drops. Pops would be population of fish species essentially to healthy, something, balance in coral reef, something. Harmful fishing methods, this plus explosives. So something, something plus explosives. Coral bleaching. Bleaching is to turn white. Okay, so if you bleach something, we're turning it white, usually through toxic or bad substances. So it's changes in temperature or something, something. chemical pollution from something puts stress on coral reefs. Reefs expel sea life, leading to coral losses. This something therefore becomes plus dies off equals bleaching. Okay, so we'll go through this first and I'll let you listen to the lecture. Here we go.
Shall we? For our class today, we are going to discuss what I think is one of the most neglected ecosystems in the world, which is dangerous because of its rich biodiversity. I'll give you another hint. This ecosystem supports 25% of all marine life.
Okay, it's going to go straight into it really quickly. So I'm going to go back just this one time and then I'll let you listen through to the whole lecture. But as this is a video, you can pause and play as many times as you like to try and get the correct answers and then send them off to me.
As a result of human activity. And, well, I don't think I need to go into detail about the various impacts of global warming in terms of increasing temperatures, rising sea levels, melting glaciers, and so on. While we could easily spend the entire semester listing all the environmental problems that our planet faces, let's start diving deeper into the issues, shall we? For our class today, we are going to discuss what I think is one of the most neglected ecosystems in the world, which is dangerous because of its rich biodiversity. I'll give you another hint. This ecosystem supports 25% of all marine life, even though it makes up only 1% of the Earth's ocean floor. Would anyone like to guess? No? The ecosystem I'm referring to is coral reefs. Scientists estimate that 20% of the ocean's coral reefs have already disappeared, with rates as high as 70% in countries like the Philippines. At the same time, experts predict that a quarter of the coral reefs in the world today are at risk of being wiped out. If current trends continue, another 30% of our coral reefs will be completely destroyed in the next 30 years. And, worst of all, there are no known methods for recovering these lost habitats. What is causing the destruction of coral reefs? Well, fishing is definitely one of the main culprits. Specifically, overfishing is depleting populations of fish species that are essential to maintaining a healthy balance of biodiversity in coral reef ecosystems. In addition, there are harmful fishing methods that are being used to catch high yields of fish, such as cyanide poison fishing and using explosives. But these techniques also end up killing other sea life in the process. At the same time, there are global environmental problems that are having a damaging effect on our coral reef systems. In particular, there is a tragic situation called coral bleaching that is destroying our reefs. Because coral needs specific environmental conditions to survive, changes in temperature or water chemistry can be toxic. The increase in water temperatures due to global warming, along with chemical pollution from industries, puts stress on coral reefs. In response, coral reefs expel the sea life that makes them their home, which leads to coral losing color or becoming completely white and dying off, hence the term bleaching. So, why should we be concerned about the destruction of coral reefs? I mean, our oceans make up 71% of our Earth's surface, so isn't there enough space for sea life to relocate? Unfortunately, this is not the case. There are numerous reasons why we cannot sit idly by while our coral reefs vanish. In terms of the direct implications to humans, there are local economies that heavily rely on coral reefs. In the Florida Keys alone, there are over 33,000 jobs that are supported by tourism and recreation that the coral reefs help to bring in. Meanwhile, indigenous communities around the world depend on coral reefs for their livelihood, including food and income. Then, when looking at the greater picture, the extinction of coral reefs is a risk to the survival of all life on the planet. Because all living things are interconnected, Each species that is lost has a huge impact on the existence of other species. As I mentioned before, our ecosystems can only endure when a healthy balance is maintained. In other words, the disruption of that healthy balance can cause a disastrous chain reaction of catastrophic proportions. Have I scared you enough? That was not my intention. I'm just trying to communicate how important it is to protect our coral reefs. On that note, let's brainstorm some solutions for how.
Okay. All right, so hopefully you got all of those answers. As I said, tomorrow we'll go through them. And then what you're going to do is put this into a summary yourself. But as I said, I will do all of that tomorrow. Very good. Okay, so that's what we're going to focus on for tomorrow. So please get this done and get it sent to me as soon as possible, as well as anything else that you have outstanding. So tomorrow we'll go through the answers, and then we're going to talk about starting your podcast. Please continue working on your interviews, your chart answers and summary, and send that to me. And I will speak to you again in our next class. Thanks very much, guys.